to the forces shaping governance, policies, and power. From the halls of government.
You were there. I was not there. Check the record. Wait now. You were there. I was not there.
To the voices of the people.
We are suffering. This suffering is too much. It's too much. Look at the students. There's no job. They finish school. There's no job for them.
We analyze the undercurrents, expose the intrigues, and break down the narratives that define our democracy. Dr. Tony Olisa Mbeki delivering razor-sharp analysis, and Ibuka Franklin and Chisom on the question wheel, driving the conversation. We bring you the most compelling discussions on governance, policies, and power plays. Stay informed, stay engaged, stay ahead. The Polity, every weekdays at 9:15 a.m. Exclusive on Udala 104.7 FM Onitsha.
Okay, 17 minutes past 9 a.m. and it's another edition of the Polity on Udala Radio 104.7 FM Onitsha. We're glad to have you join us this very morning for this very wonderful conversation on issues emanating in the Polity. My name is Franklin Begana, saying welcome to Thursday edition, this 9th day of April 2026. And as usual, I'll be having as usual, I'll have with me the in-house analyst who is going to throw a light on the issues we're going to raise this very morning. So we ask you to ride with us this very morning because there are lots of things on the card. Yesterday, there was a protest by ADC to INEC office where they made about 6 demands in respect to what is happening within the APC. It's no longer within the ADC. It's no longer news that ADC is now having leadership crisis, no thanks to that very derecognition of David Mark-led NWC by INEC. Since then, we have seen the emergence of 3 factions within the ADC, and ADC is saying that INEC is trying to undermine democracy and enthrone one-party state. That was why they went on protest yesterday and made those demands. That same yesterday, we saw that the PDP faction led by Tamil Turaki and the Sheikh Makindo for your state, they had a meeting with ADC led by David Mark, where they talked about solidarity and at the same time how they can explore and work together towards 2027 presidential election. That same yesterday, there were some other developments that happened. We got to know about the U.S. firm which said that is going to talk to U.S. President Donald Trump to talk about or to consider sanctions on INEC and any politician who might do anything to undermine elections in Nigeria. These things are there. Then there was this very vote of confidence which was passed by the National Assembly on Tantita services, which provide security services for pipelines in Nigeria. Of course, we know that some people filed a petition against Tantita, but the National Assembly is saying that from what they have discovered, Tantita is doing a wonderful job, and that's why they had to pass a vote of confidence on Tantita. According to them, in 2000 and that was 2022, before Tantita came on board, Nigeria was doing about 960,000 barrels of crude oil per day, but now with their services, Nigeria is now approximately doing 1.8 million barrels of crude oil per day, and for them, it's a good one. That's why they have to pass vote of confidence on Tantita services. Another development we might touch this very morning, so we ask you to stay with us as we begin today's conversation on the Polity. We're live on our Facebook page, Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Get on that page and drop your comment. We're also live on our Instagram and YouTube channels, Udala Radio. You can view us live from any part of this very world. So if you're outside the terrestrial coverage of the radio, of course, you are not handicapped. You can still get across to us and follow proceedings from here. So thank you once more for joining us. And my name is Franklin Ebuka. Tony Olisambeki is on the analysis desk. Good morning, Tony.
Good morning to you, Franklin Ebuka. Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, the good people of Southeast. Good morning, Ndi Anambra. Good morning, Ndi Onitsha Donidu. Good morning, Ndi Osumohu. Good morning, Ndi Afia, the Nazu Afia. Ndolubo, the farmers. Most times it seems that we have not been able to acknowledge them, the farmers, and also the food vendors, those who are into food and everything that has to do with food. That's Ndoruni, and even the fishermen in the Orumbiri as well. We all acknowledge everybody, and we keep acknowledging you. And we are so much concerned about the state of the country. That's why the program is the Polity. And we always tell you the truth. I have always said, this is our sanctuary, our own altar where we profess the truth. I was listening to Amopiton yesterday during the Born Award night and other things. He was telling broadcasters that your microphone or your studio or wherever you do your work should be a sanctuary of truth and not a megaphone for chaos. I was looking at Amopiton because he is the man in this town. But that's by the way. Maybe, I don't know, many Nigerians have been having a double look at the man. But he says that whatever he is doing, he is convinced of it and then justified. We thank God Almighty for His grace, for His love, for His mercies, and love, endless love, for all He has been doing for us. I have always said, to wake up every morning is miracle. You don't need to look or search for another miracle. For you to sleep and wake up is a miracle, and we thank Him for yet another miracle this morning. And we thank God Almighty for all He has been doing in our lives, because this is Easter Thursday and we are still in the festive mood. We are still in that period of resurrection of Christ, which we are commemorating. It happened about 2,000 years ago. Sit back and enjoy the program. You are welcome.
Okay, Amopito probably was getting the heat, and that was what prompted him to say what he said yesterday, because I must say that he tried the honest nest. So if he's getting the negative reactions, it's as a result of the actions taken by INEC, and he should be able to know how to weather this storm at this point in time. So Tony, let's quickly talk about it before we get to the headlines. Of course, it's no longer news that US and Iran have reached an agreement for a 2-week ceasefire, which is going to enable further negotiations on how to resolve this very conflict in the Middle East. And from what we gathered, it's a 10-point proposal for peace to return. And if peace returns, that simply means that it's going to impact on the price of crude oil, and then talk about the derivatives, the petrol, the PMS, the AGO, and what have you not. And for Nigerians, they are looking forward to see how the voting is going to pan out, because as a mono economy, everything depends on the price of petrol. And even yesterday, we saw that less than 24 hours after it announced an increment in price of a liter of petrol at the depot level, the Dangote refinery reversed to 1,200 naira per liter at depot level, and we are waiting to see if there will be further drop in that very price, because as of this very morning, a barrel of crude oil is selling for $97. That's what they're selling. So we have seen movement from 110, 115, 119 to $97. So Tony, looking at that very ceasefire agreement between US and Iran is for 2 weeks, that is 14 days, and it was midwifed by Pakistan. From what we gathered, Pakistan invited US and Iran for a meeting tomorrow in Islamabad, where they are going to further this very conversation. So far so good. If you look at the terms, one of the issues is stop the fighting, where there's going to be immediate halt to the US-Iranian military attacks. Then it's intended to reduce escalation across the Middle East. Then the issue of the opening of the Strait of Hormuz, which of course we know is a key global oil route. And from what it happens now, Iran is saying there's going to be coordination with others to see the passage of, tankers carrying crude oil to pass through that channel. So looking at the whole gamut of what is already in the media as regards to proposal for this very peace, how do you see this furthering? Do you see US and Iran being able to come to a reasonable agreement that can halt for the escalations?
Well, we saw the role Pakistan played, and we are so much concerned. But it's just 2 weeks, as you said, because US has given about 15 points demand, and Iran has given 10 points demand, because that's going to be the full package. But in the interim, we are going to look at the conditions, and one of the conditions, of course, will affect us greatly. That will be the reopening of Strait of Hormuz, which has made the pump price, the oil price, to escalate. And we're also going to warn and tell the oil distributors in this country to comply immediately, because yesterday this ceasefire agreement was reached. The pump price, international benchmark for oil, dropped immediately, and we saw Dangote lowering his gantry price to about 1,270, if I get that correct. In any case, that is where Nigerians are affected. But if you look at the ceasefire, they're gonna halt military actions, direct military actions. They agreed to suspend bombing, strikes, attacks on each other for 2 weeks, subject to renewal or extension if talks progresses. Then the key one is the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. Many content creators that are using Strait of Hormuz to create content these days. I've seen many contents done with Strait of Hormuz being the most strategic and important strait of every strait you can even talk of. And some people are naming their pets, their loved ones, Hormuz. But that's by the way. The thing is that Iran must allow complete, immediate and safe passage for ships carrying oil and any other thing. And this is the major US condition to ease global energy price spike. I remember Trump saying that that's the sacrifice the world has to play. The sacrifice the world has to pay to ensure that sanity returns. Because Iran is seen as a country supporting different terrorist organizations, causing chaos, causing a lot of destabilizations in many countries. They provide safe help, ammunitions, and what have you to so many of these. And I recall Trump saying that, Trump first gave a deadline, saying that if they do not agree to this proposal, that US will wipe the entire generation, wipe entire civilization. So you come to Iran, you will have nobody in Iran. That was the threat. That hasn't happened in the history. We've not seen a total wipeout of a complete generations. He called it civilization. That's what he threatened. That he gave a deadline. That was why Pakistan got into the whole thing, because Pakistan, being a neighboring country, was actually troubled, and they found that Trump this time around may go on just to drop a nuclear weapon, and before you know it, everywhere will be dust. Well, the thing is, it's going to benefit Nigeria, because we are looking at the oil price to drop, even when we know very well that Iran was also told to de-escalate regional and border attacks, which they are good at. If these things are done, it will be the basis for further talks, because just like I said earlier on, Iran has made a 10-point demand, that is proposal. It's not part of these 2 weeks ceasefire agreement. It is just one of the, or probably going further with the talks, because they want end to all conflict in the region, including against processes in Iraq, Lebanon, Yemen. They also asked for all primary and secondary sanctions on Iran, plus on freezing of Iranian assets. US has done them so bad. US has frozen almost every Iranian asset that is found on countries they are allies to. That's if they're ally, if you are their ally and there is Iranian asset, they will come there and freeze it. And Iran is saying they have to unfreeze. And also the withdrawal, US military withdrawal from the region, like in the Middle East. US has its base in Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates. I don't think this one is possible. US cannot withdraw its military from regional bases. I don't think that will be possible, but it's one of the conditions Iran is seeking. And Iran is also seeking compensation and reparations from the US for war damages and reconstruction, that all the strikes US has caused them, all the destructions, all the damages. Iran is demanding compensation and also reconstruction, and also acceptance to its right to enrich uranium. It's not going to be possible. I look at their 10 points demands. I was actually laughing, because we are not going to get out of this. You think, because it's one of the major reasons US is coming after you, because of your uranium enrichment. But they are saying that their enrichment is for peaceful purposes, not for war. Who is going to trust you? You know what is uranium? Used for nuclear weapons. Nobody is going to do that. And also they are talking about termination of resolutions against Iran, both at the UN Security Council and also at IAEA. That's what they are talking about. There are so many resolutions against them. They are talking about termination, reversal. The truth is that they are also demanding there will be a binding UN Security Council resolution to formalize all the deals. If they agree on all these things, UN should come into it so that it will be formalized. And they say that the US has been carrying attacks on their allies, and that has to stop. So I'm going to let you know that I looked at their demands, or their 10 points, what do you call it, whatever name they give it, proposal. That's what they call it. Their 10-point proposal. That is their key demands and conditions. I looked at them, I laughed. But the key thing is that they are going to have these 2 weeks. For Nigerians, for us here, we are going to see a drop in petrol price. Many of us have been paying through our nose. You can imagine that we are paying 840, at most 900. Before you know it, 1,300, 1,400. At least we are looking forward to seeing about 500 naira drop for any pump price, a liter pump price of petrol. That's what we are looking forward to with this ceasefire. But it's just 2 weeks, and what that means is that after 2 weeks, if they are unable to agree on any other thing further, but I'm going to see renewal, because once these 2 weeks elapses, they are going to renew for either another 2 weeks, pending the determination of their key proposals. But the key proposals submitted by Iran, I don't think is possible.
Okay, so that's the teaser, of course, of what we had this very morning. Just to update you on that very ceasefire agreement for 2 weeks between Iran and Israel. Sorry, between Iran and the US, because Israel on its own said it supports the US, but its fight against Hezbollah in Lebanon is going to continue. In part of yesterday, there were strikes in Lebanon. So we have to now go to the headlines and let you know what the papers are saying this very morning.
You're listening to the Polity. Get involved now.
Okay, you're listening to the Polity on Udala Radio 104.7 FM Onitsha. Okay, so let's get to look at the headlines. We have the four newspapers: the Nigerian Tribune, the Guardian, the Punch, and the Vanguard newspapers. They're the ones who have this very morning, and we have to start with the headlines we have on the Nigerian Tribune, which has been in existence since 1949. So the big story here says ADC Turaki-led PDP meet, explore 2027 options. The story is on page 2 of the Nigerian Tribune. It has the readers: we paid solidarity visit to ADC PDP group. Nigeria must commit to clean democratic space. Makinde, Atiku, Bikwankwaso, Makinde, Wabara, Ghana, others attend a meeting. Another headline here says ADC leaders protest at INEC headquarters. On page 3 of the Nigerian Tribune, it has a writer that says, ask commission to withdraw offensive correspondence to party, threatening coordinated civic action. Another headline says Delta governor approves 200,000 naira monthly tax-free allowance for medical doctors. On page 15, FG's 501 billion naira bond raises strong indicator of market confidence. Jenkos, the story is on page 5, talking about how government was able to raise some money in respect to that 3.3 trillion naira debt owed power generating companies. Pipeline surveillance contract, NAS committees pass vote of confidence in Tantita, NMPCL, all that's on page 4. Why Tinubu didn't attend project commissioning in Lagos presidency? Lagos has raised bar in quality project delivery. President, the story is on page 2. Anthony, people have been trying to read meaning into why Mr. President was absent at that project commission in Lagos. Don't forget that it was widely publicized by the presidency and Lagos state government, and yesterday the president didn't show up despite the fact that he was in Lagos. And because of these speculations, presidency has explained that he wasn't there because he was prioritizing security meeting, and that was why he was not there. The commissioning was done on his behalf by Senate President Senator Godswill Akpabio. We get to the headlines we have on The Guardian. The big story there says opposition explores options as ADC PDP questioning next neutrality. On page 6 of The Guardian newspaper. Beneath the nameplates, CSO youth storm Goodluck Jonathan's office, urge him to contest. On page 3. Why this heading on Jonathan for him to contest for presidency again? In 2023, we heard that people went to him asking to contest. In 2025, or rather in 2026, people are asking him to come out and contest in 2027. What's that magic one he has that people have seen that made them to keep on going to him asking him to join the presidential bid? Finality of Supreme Court's ruling does not translate to infallibility in public eye. You can see the story on page 7 of The Guardian. 2027, don't give power to APC by boycotting polls. Adebayo urges Nigerians. The story is on page 3. On page 5, you will see a headline that says Nigeria making progress, not on the brink of collapse, FG assures. NCAA warns of flight delays, cancellations during rainy season. The story is on page 5. Akpabio commissions Lagos project, tax state on modern Nigeria. The story is on page 7. 2 years later, activists, community urge military to release Okwama detainees. That story is on page 29. We know the famous story of Okwama, how some soldiers were killed there, and soldiers had to invade that very community. From what we gathered, it was dissolution, and now 2 years after, some people are still being detained in connection to what happened in that very community in Delta State. World Bank, multi-dimensional poverty threatening Nigeria's economic potential. That story is on page 6 of The Guardian newspaper. And then you can now see the picture story of the protests which were led by ADC to INEC office yesterday. That's the picture story on the front page of The Guardian newspaper. Then on Vanguard, The big story there says ADC lists 6-point demands at INEC protest. It has a couple of riders, and that story can be found on page 5 of Vanguard. That protest is also the picture story on the front page. FG waves demurrage on 10,000 containers. Review single window progress on page 20 of Vanguard newspaper. Then we quickly dash to the Punch, which is the last paper we have on card this morning. Beside the nameplate, Ali Akume rift threatens Benue NAS members' re-election bids. That story is on page 18. I'm wondering why, for like 3 years, the rift between George Akume, former governor of that very state, and the current governor, Hyacinth Alia, who is a Reverend Father, I don't know why it has been so difficult to solve, despite the fact that at some point in time, the presidency seemed to have waded in. But that rift isn't in any way receding. 2027, INEC registers 3.4 million new voters. The story is on page 7. And interestingly, Jigawa State is leading in this very registration. World Bank flags fiscal risk in Nigeria's 4 trillion naira power bonds. The story is on page 20. Northeast logs nearly 2,000 explosions in 7 years. Report on page 7 of the Punch. Senate President, governors unveil Lagos mega project. That's the picture story on the front page of the Punch newspaper. 2027 alignment, Wike-backed PDP fumes over Makinde ADC alliance plans. On page 2, the writer says, Oyo Governor Atiku Obi Kwankwaso Amechi Mark hold high stakes meeting, more new platform. Youths rally Jonathan for 2027 presidential bid on page 12. 500 level student dies during football match on pages 1 and 5 of Punch newspaper. Quite a sad one. And the last story on page 16 says Bauchi APC split over governor's defection move. Talking about Governor Bala this time around. You know what happens once there's defection? Of course, the structure goes to the governor and he controls. So in this very case, those who have been in that very party, they were asking, what becomes our fate when he eventually comes into the party? These are the headlines we have this very morning on the front pages. And next will be for us to bring you the analysis on some of these very issues. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
You're listening to the Polity. Get involved now.
Okay, you are tuned to Udala Radio 104.7 FM Onitsha. My name is Franklin Ebeka. Tony Lisambeki is on the analysis desk. And we'll begin analysis with what happened in Delta State. I came across that very story yesterday when it was posted on the Facebook page of Delta State government, where the commissioner for health talked about that announcement which was made by the governor in a bid to encourage health workers, precisely doctors, for them to stay in Delta State and also apply for the recruitment opportunity ongoing there now. From what we gathered, that Delta State governor has approved a 200,000 naira increase in doctors' monthly salaries, alongside 100,000 naira tax-free allowance for house officers, and to attract and retain medical professionals in that state. It was the Commissioner for Health, Joseph Nojame, who announced that. In fact, he did an announcement that was on 17th March during a press briefing that was held in Delta State, and he said that it was part of the governor's more special allowance that is going to reform the state. Now, if you go through the breakdown, you see that from what it is now, the adjustment raises the salary of entry-level doctors to 570,000 naira monthly from 370 it used to be. Then those who are house officers, they will now earn above 350,000 naira, up from 250,000 naira that they were earning before. And he said that this decision followed concerns about low number of doctors participating in the ongoing recruitment exercise, which is targeting more than 700 health workers. So, Tony, let's look at this very development. It was an announcement that came from the commissioner. If the paperwork have been done, we do not know. But from the way the commissioner sounded, I don't know whether it's something that happened at the spur of the moment to encourage people to apply for the openings in Delta State. And whether it's going to be bait and switch, nobody knows. Maybe by the time they talk more, we get to know how much they have gone when it comes to this issue of salary review. But from the announcement, let's start from there. What's your thought on this announcement and what it can do for the medical sector in Delta State?
Well, I actually feel for doctors because the Delta State government decided to up their game to be at par with federal government payments and at the same time with the Lagos State government. From what we are told, this seems to be the mostly what's or close to what the government of the day is paying, and at the same time what is obtainable in Lagos. It's good because if you look at it, doctors, many of them have been in this Japa syndrome. They have been moving from Nigeria mostly to United States, United Kingdom, Canada, and elsewhere. They feel that their works are not well appreciated here. The last time we had this brouhaha, I remember the government reminding them that your studies we are subsidized. That for you to study medicine and surgery, MBBS, in any of the countries you mentioned, you must pay 3 years. But government subsidized their studies, and the best way to repay government is to engage in government services. If not for the fact that education, according to government, I'm just trying to reflect. It's not my opinion. I'm just stating out what government during the time of Buhari told medical doctors, that many of you cannot afford to study medicine and surgery outside the shores of this country because they are expensive for you to enroll for any of these studies in any of these countries. For admission and everything, you have to pay up to 30 million, 35 million for a start. And before you know it, you start paying 25 million every year. By the time you are done completing your studies, you must have spent over 200 million or close to 200 million. But here in Nigeria, you have it for probably less than 10 million or 15 million. And you are now trying to tell the country that you are underpaid and you want to be paid the amount those who may have spent such a fortune studying medicine, that you are not in the same category. You got yourself almost free. Freely you receive, and probably freely you shall give. That's the rhetoric. But the doctors are not taking that, because each time we talk about this issue, they compare themselves with their colleagues outside the country, and they feel that they are being shortchanged. And that's more reason they are trooping outside the country, and we call it Jata, and we're going to have brain drain. And it's affecting the doctor to patient ratio in Nigeria. Last we checked, we have one doctor to about 2,000 plus. Probably you're gonna find out that fragment. But ordinarily it shouldn't be so. But the other state government, why we are talking about this is because of what the Delta government, state government did by making the entry level. When you talk about entry level, once you graduate from medicine and surgery, not those who are resident doctors, those who are undertaking their specialty programs, and not even the consultants who may have completed their specialty and they are referred as senior doctors, those who are fellows of different associations in West Africa or even Nigeria. The point is, if you convert 570,000 naira, which is the entry level of medical practitioners as announced in Delta State, which is upping his game, it's about $407. It's not up to $500 a month. That's what it is. It's about $407. If you use 1,400 naira per dollar exchange rates, it's about $407, less than $500. And if you go for that, you understand that their colleagues, entry level in UK is about $1,400. That's entry level without allowance. That's just basic salary. But here we are talking about allowance plus basic salary. But in their own climb, it's about $1,400. By the time you add up some entitlements, it may gear up to about $3,000 or $4,000 per month. We are talking about per month here. You cannot compare the two. The difference is so wild. But that's the honest truth. Here, Nigerian government, we know very well that you cannot run such comparison like that, because you also have to talk about purchasing power parity. You must also consider that. If you look at the taxes they pay, bills they pay out there, by the time deductions are made, maybe they may be left with something about $2,000.
Okay, so I spoke with my friend who is in medical line, who lives in the UK, and he said, he just gave me as an estimate. He said if he makes $2,000 in a month, after paying bills, he's left with about 800. Sorry, he said if he makes £2,000 in a month, after paying the bills in a month, doing his taxes, he's left with about £800. But the good thing is that the money has value and can take him for a few months, even if he earns nothing again.
Well, he has just told you the truth. If you ask me, that's just it. $2,000. And at the end of the day, he's left with $800. What that means is that about $1,200 went into bill payments. That's what it is. And if 1,200 went into bills, that tells you the kind of bills you pay. And if you look at that $800 left, what that means is that that's where he's gonna feed from, that's where he's gonna support his family from, that's where he's gonna also change his clothes and then support himself, and also further his education. It tells you that it's never easy. But the truth remains, just like I said earlier on, because what we are trying to aggregate here for entry level, those who have MBBS and also MBCHB, Bachelor of Medicine, and also Bachelor of Surgery, because that's what they have after spending about 6 years or thereabout, because we know the program. And then there will be a house officer. We didn't talk about house officers. Those who just graduated, of course, they are doing their housemanship. For them, it's another thing. And house officers, of course, it's just 1 year program. And when you, after house officers, you now talk about medical officers. Those who have completed their MBBS and also completed their internship and they have been licensed. Of course, these are the people we're talking about, the entry level.
So today, how inspiring is this announcement to be able to attract doctors to Delta State and retain those who are there? And if you're going to do a comparison with some other states, would we say that Delta State is, going the right way, trying to get the best hands to be there and be able to take care of the medical needs of the people?
Well, the idea is to ensure that they are well taken care of. I had thought that the government will not stop at just 570,000. Of course, that's for the entry level, as we said. Provide houses for them. Provide houses, even if possible. Provide vehicles, if possible. How many are there? The last I checked, I think how many doctors do we have in Nigeria, plus or minus? I don't know if they're up to 150,000. I don't know. I stand to be corrected. But the government can do well by providing houses, vehicles. You know why? Because their own type of profession has to do with life. These are people who are committed to their work. At any point they are called upon. It could be at night. They have to leave their sleep to attend to emergency. I'm talking about for committed ones and not for those who are profligate, those who are not committed. I'm not talking about those involving such. But the key thing is, I've said it many times, that they need more. Because 570,000, let's assume that they have to ferry themselves, or maybe a medical officer, as I was actually trying to explain, and you have to, transportation alone, you have to drive yourself to work. If you do that, How much is left? I'm talking about medical officers, those who have completed their MBBS and completed their internship and their license. They are fully qualified general doctor. How much is left? A liter of petrol is 1,230 or 300 naira. By the time you put that in a month, that is over 150,000 or 200,000. That's transportation alone if you have to drive, because they must drive. But we know very well that if many of their senior colleagues, like senior medical officers, the ones we call SMO, those who have qualified after their MBBS and years of experience, that supervise junior doctors, but they may not be a specialist yet. How much are they paid? Then the resident doctors, those who are undergoing specialist training, that is residency. When you hear the word residency, they are undergoing specialist training, which lasts most time from 4 to 6 years. Yes. And if you look at registration, most of the textbooks they buy. One was telling me the other time that some of the textbooks they use, even online or hard copy, 1.something million, 700,000. Their textbooks are so costly. The exam registration is also costly. The last I checked, one was telling me to register for a particular exam and all that is how much is spent. Then if you are done with resident doctor, what about the registrar? Those who may have done their MBBS and their residency in progress, and even the senior registrar, are those who are at advanced stage of residency. And then you now talk about consultant, those who are the specialist doctors. When you hear something like consultant surgeon, consultant physician, consultant pediatrician, these are the people who have the fellowship.
Okay, so Tony, at this point in time, because we have to transit from Delta State to go to some other place, but we just hope that the government of Delta State has been able to, cross all the T's and dotted all the I's, so that they won't get to a point where those who are recruited or those who are already in the service will be asking questions about when are you going to implement what you have promised. Because if you're looking at their budget for 2026, I can see that the state allocated 31.18 billion naira to personnel costs in the health sector. If you compare it to what it was in 2025, you can see it was an increase, because in 2025 they had 29.08 billion allocated to these very personnel costs in the health sector. So we hope that this was factored in so that they won't get to a point where Ana Duakanono or Ana threatened for strike because a promise was not kept. So we have to leave it at this point and then get to this very commercial. After the commercial, let's talk about what happened yesterday in Abuja, where we saw ADC members going on a protest to INEC office. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM.
Special announcement. All traders and business owners affected by the ongoing demolition at Onitsha Main Market, an alternative is now available. West Africa Intercontinental Trade Center Limited, WETC, in partnership with the Anambra State Government, is building a modern commercial complex at Oze Nkwele Road Mechanic Village. Good news. All affected traders will receive free shops for 1 year, while the permanent shop clusters are being completed. To benefit from this opportunity, all affected traders and interested persons should visit the Onitsha Chamber of Commerce to obtain the expression of interest form. Location: opposite Shanahan University Gate, Basilica of the Most Holy Trinity Compound, GRA, Onitsha. Investors who wish to build modern shops for sale to subscribers can also obtain the forms. Note: only 16 clusters remain, and each cluster contains 272 shops. Don't miss this opportunity to secure a shop in the WETC Modern Trade Complex today. For inquiries, call 0803 786 6974 or 0813 644 5336.
When you think of roofing, think of strength. When you think of durability, think of beauty. And when you think of all three combined, think Best Aluminium MFG Limited. At Best Aluminium, we don't just manufacture roofing sheets. We create protection, comfort, and style for your home and business. Whether you're building from scratch or repairing an old roof, we have exactly what you need. Our products include stone-coated roofing sheets, aluminum roofing sheets, and colored roofing sheets. But that's not all. We also offer residential and commercial roofing services, roof repairs, gutters, emergency roofing services, and even durable cookwares that bring quality to your kitchen. Visit us today at 30/32 Anyika Street, Awada Obosi, Anambra State, or call us right now on 0806 416 2374 or 0706 059 6203.
I am the sound of revival. The world is waiting for me to be heard.
Are you ready for a divine encounter? Are you ready for chains to be broken and barriers shattered? The Assemblies of God Satellite Assembly Onitsha proudly presents Revival Fire. Theme: Breaking Barriers in All Ramifications. Join us for 3 power-packed days of intense worship, life-transforming word, and revival fire. Sunday, April 12 by 8 a.m., Monday, April 13 by 5 p.m., and Tuesday, April 14 by 5 p.m. Ministering live, Reverend Dr. Chidi Okorafo. Guest speaker, Reverend Dr. K.I. Ihekorome, Senior Pastor. Reverend Augustine Okonta, Assistant Pastor. Venue, AG Satellite Assembly, opposite Army Barracks, Onitsha. Come expecting healing, restoration, breakthrough, and unstoppable fire. Be there.
You are the change agents.
Onitsha, are you ready? This is not your regular night out.
Another one.
This is Udala House Party. Live at Movie Lounge, 8 Park Road, GRA Onitsha, on April 10th, 2026 at 7 p.m. And guess what? Entry is free.
Involve me!
With vibes from DJ Famous, Prestige, Bucci, Ojugo, Edith, and Lisa. Plus performances from DJ Fabulous, Tantawo, and the Obrigado. There will be games, 10 free casino slots for 10 lucky winners, board games, vibes, energy all night. Strictly 18 and above. And yes, it's gonna be live on air on Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Udala House Party this Friday. Make it a date. Brought to you by Udala Radio and Movie. Are you smart, confident, and ready to earn big? Do you have a passion for sales and marketing? Then listen up. Udala Radio 104.7 FM is calling on ambitious, result-driven individuals to join our team as marketers. No limits, no boundaries, just results and rewards. Work at your own pace, meet amazing clients, and grow your income. Sell it, share it, earn your way. Join Udala Radio and start today. Interested? Visit our station today at number 5 Okono Street, Onitsha, or call 0803-350-4206 or send your CV to udalaradio@gmail.com. Don't wait. Your success story starts here. Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
You're listening to the Polity. Get involved now.
Okay, it's 4 minutes past 10 a.m. and you are listening to the Polity on Udala Radio 104.7 FM. My name is Franklin Ebeka and Tony Lisambeki is on the analysis desk. We just talked about what happened in Delta State, where the governor of the state has announced an increment on the salary of medical doctors in that raised by 200,000 naira, and they said the aim is to ensure that they get to retain medical doctors in that state and also attract new ones who are going to work in the public sector in Delta State. So let's look at what happened yesterday in Abuja, where we saw ADC leaders leading a protest to INEC office. At that very protest, we saw the likes of Dino Melaye, we saw Atiku Abubakar, we saw Peter Obi, I just mentioned all those leaders of the ADC, Aminu Tambuwal, Rabi Kwankwaso, Rawu Fareboshola. They were all there at that very protest, and they carried placards, Atiku Abubakar, Rotimi Amechi, Balaji Abdullahi, just mentioned they were all there. We also saw members of Kwankwasia group, adorning their red and white cap. They were there. We also saw that even some people who are in the opposition also joined, even some CSOs joined that very protest. And the message was simple. INEC, what you did is, tends to undermine a democracy that we've been enjoying. And they are saying that INEC is working towards having one-party system, whereby only one party might be able to present a candidate for 2027 during election, precisely the presidential election. But INEC has explained itself, saying it was complying with, a judgment or another of the court. But where we are now is that very yesterday, ADC made some demands on INEC. One is the immediate resignation of the INEC chairman or his removal by appropriate constitutional authorities. Number 2 is the withdrawal of INEC's correspondence to the ADC, which they describe as offensive. Number 3 is formal apology from INEC to the ADC. Then, fourth one, commitment by INEC to refrain from interference in internal affairs of political parties. And that one is enforcement measures if ignored, like judicial proceedings. And then finally, coordinated civic action. That means they're asking Nigerians to keep piling pressure on INEC to ensure that it doesn't get a compromise in any way. So, Tony, the protest yesterday, let's look at it. What do you think about it? Was ADC playing to the gallery, or it did what it's supposed to do to keep the pressure piling up on INEC? They look at the demands they made. What's the feasibility of these demands?
Well, the demands they made, of course, I am not seeing anything coming out of it. Demanding for the resignation of the INEC chairman, Professor Joash Mopiton, and you ask if he's gonna make any headway. He's not going to make any headway. Their protests can be best described as these hypothetical or these imaginable. Then if ọkụkọ na-ebela akwa abụlọ na-ewebulu nwa ya n'ọbụka ọha nụrụ onu ya. By implication, the hen is not crying against the fact that the hawk has taken the chicks or her chicks, but let the world hear her cry. I think that's the best way I can describe yesterday's protest, if you ask me. And it's just remind me about the 2011 protest. You remember that protest? Occupy Nigeria protest. And that protest was sometime January 2012. It was nationwide though, and it happened as a result of Jonathan's removal of the fuel subsidy. That is, petrol price jumped from 65 naira. It was at that time to about 140 naira per liter, and there was this shout. Remember, likes of President Bola Tinubu. Then he was the national leader of ACN and former governor of Lagos State. He was in that very protest. Muhammadu Buhari, who was the then leader of the CPC and former head of state, he joined the protest. Pastor Tunde Bakere led the Save Nigerian group, very visible at Ojota rallies and a key mobilizer. Professor Wole Soyinka, I remember the Nobel laureate, joined the protest. Adams Oshomole, the then NLC former president, at that point, of course, the governor of Edo State, joined the protest. Femi Falana joined the protest, the human rights lawyer and activist. Nasiru El-Rufai, then opposition figure, who later became the governor of Kaduna State, joined the protest. I remember Dr. Tunji Braithwaite, an activist, joined the protest. Jerry Kutin, those, I'm just trying to remember these people, joined the protest. Banky W, the musician, joined the protest. Jide Kosoko, yeah, if I can recall, these are some figures I'm able to remember. They all joined the protest. In fact, Labour leaders joined the protest. Abdullah Wahid Omar, who was then NLC president, and even Peter Eselo, who was at that time the TUC president. They all joined the protest. Civil society organizations, they joined the protest. In fact, Shehu Sani led protests in Kaduna. The ACN and CPC politicians, they all joined the protest. And that protest, Jonathan soft pedaled because he rescinded that decision. It was a major protest. But the one of yesterday, can you compare the Occupy Nigerian protest, which was as a result of fuel increment, and the protest that happened yesterday? And you ask me, are these people playing to the gallery? And I've just described the protest using that Igbo adage. Their demands, for me, will not be met. Resignation of Amopitan, recognition of David Mark leadership, they will be told that they have to sort their issues in courts. It's unfortunate the course we have now. I pity them. Power, they say, intoxicates. And let me say this, any of them, if you give them opportunity, they will do it basically the same thing President Bola Tinubu is doing. They were once on the other side doing protests like President Bola Tinubu. Today he's in power. What is happening? I looked at those that say that Mr. President was a promoter of democracy. He fought military government under the DECO and so many of that. But there are those who are saying that his actions are making the country to tilt into one-party state. It's a game of wit. It's a game of wit. Here, the ADC leadership, we are told, has engaged a US firm to lobby some congressmen so that they will apply pressure on President Trump to sanction INEC. And there was this report, I don't know how true the report is, that Wike gave choice properties, that is land, to INEC officials. The report has been making way. If that is true, that tells you where we are heading to. The judges, they have been giving best of accommodations. I saw the judges' quarters built by Yesom Wike. Fantastic. And if you have a case before a judge who is living in one of the quarters, what do you expect against Wike or against President Bola Tinubu? There are those who are insinuating that this is a case of state capture, that the judiciary has been captured, the legislation, the National Assembly captured, then even some of them are saying some activists that have been captured, likes of Wole Soyinka and so many of them. Many of them are saying they have been captured. And if you look at those who are going to talk, some institutions of government captured. That's according to them anyway. But one thing is this: when we speak about strengthening institution, they don't listen. See, for me, I don't blame President Bola Tinubu. Why? Because we did not strengthen our institutions. That's why any president can do exactly what you accuse him of doing. Who doesn't like power? Power is so sweet. It's so juicy. You know what that means? Any country you go to, red carpet road, the president of the country give you that parade, that military parade, that honor. You sit on top of every decision, every lucrative appointment, even non-lucrative one. We failed to strengthen our institution. Any of these people doing this protest can as well do what the president is doing, but they may do it differently. They may do it differently. Give a man power without checks, without balance. What you see, or what you accuse the president, is exactly what you are going to see. This was the case in most of these countries, in Germany, in USA, in Canada, in most European countries. Exactly what we are saying today. You know what they did? They made it a cardinal point is going to be non-partisan. They set up a constituent assembly and bring people in there. The idea is to strengthen the institution that the president will not have overriding power. The president, as we speak, has overriding power on everything. The presidency tenure of Tinubu will expire very soon, even if he wins second term. Highest, he will stay there till 2031. The next person that is going to take over from him will do exactly the same thing he's doing. You will say that Buhari did not do it. Buhari did it in a way. Just that Buhari, for his kind of person, he decided to throw away face. Let me use that word. But those around him, the cabals, felt that they cannot allow this to slip by. Strengthen institution. Look at, in your constitution, the president appoints INEC chairman. Situation where the president does not appoint INEC chairman, you may not expect something like this to happen. Situation where INEC officials, they are protected by law to be totally and truly independent in a way that first they are to deal with. They are to be, see, look at the situation we have. The federal government, the consolidated revenue, that post is managed by federal government. It's not supposed to be so. It's not.
Tony, do you think that this very protest, which was embarked upon by ADC and the other sundry persons, will in any way put INEC chairman on his toes, make him to begin to think or be circumspect when it comes to taking decisions in further action, in further issues?
Well, he's not going to put any pressure on him. The only person he looks at is the appointer. Who is his appointer? President. If the president says he's going to be there, what can any person do? Nothing. That's why I said, if his appointment or removal is done in such a way and where the people have the power, with this protest, he'll be under pressure. Yes. If we have done this appointment that whenever there is a major concern, petition signed by 1 million Nigerians with NIN that you can authenticate, raising grave issues and concerns about the INEC chairman, at that point he will be compelled to step aside. Why can't we have such a law? And what the ADC would have done now is to tell Nigerians who feel aggrieved about his actions and inactions to sign the petition, where there will be a body that will investigate the authenticity of those who may have signed the petition. If you leave power in the hands of the people, those who man institutions will be more careful. But where the person who appoints, who removes, is the president, not just INEC. Virtually every executive body, federal executive body, as we have under section 174 of the Constitution. Okay, it's a very anomaly.
Let's get to the other side of this very conversation, because you mentioned that a Washington-based lobbying firm, was engaged by ADC. From what is out there in the media, some persons are trying to link it to Atiku Abubakar, that he was the one who procured the services of this very lobbying firm. We're talking about Von Batten Montague York LC. That's the name of this very Washington-based lobbying firm. And from what we gathered, there was a statement which was issued by this very firm yesterday, and the firm said that it's going to urge U.S. President and U.S. authorities, likewise members of the Congress, to impose sanctions on Nigerian officials over the Independent National Electoral Commission's derecognition of the leadership of the African Democratic Congress, that's the ADC. If you go through the statement that they issued yesterday, they talked about, how the government of President Donald Trump is not going to hold its hand like the government of Joe Biden, and look at certain things being done to undermine democracy. And they said there are lots of things that can be done. They are saying that they are going to recommend sanctions under the global Magnitsky framework, whereby some sanctions can be imposed on Nigerian politicians and officials of INEC who engage in efforts to rig election in any way. And these sanctions could be in the form of freezing all their foreign assets, restricting access to global financial system, imposing travel bans on individuals and their immediate families and what have you. Now, certainly, this, of course, on this platform, sometimes when we hear people say that ADC should engage with the US, the US could have an influence on neutrality of INEC going towards this election. So what do you think about this very move?
Well, everybody is playing to outwit the next. For me, I don't have any problem with that. But if you look at the amount involved, $1.2 million as reported by different media firms. And if you look at it, for me, just as we have seen before now, the time under the National Security Advisor, a firm was hired to lobby. These US firms, they must be making money. They must be smiling home with huge money because of Nigeria issues. If you look at this firm in view now, the firm we have talked about, Von Batten Montag, a New York firm, they were engaged sometime in early April, to lobby the Trump administration and US officials over the INEC derecognition of David Mark-led ADC executives. We are told from different credible news outlets like Premium Times, The Cable, even Vanguard, TBC, Business Post, many of them, they report that Atiku Abubakar signed a separate $1.2 million 12-month lobbying contract with a firm, Von Batten Montag, York. Well, we are going to see what the firm will be doing. But we are told that the firm was registered with the U.S. Department of Justice under the Foreign Agenda Registration Act around April 1st, 2026. The firm just got registered on 1st of April. And this should be their first contract. If you ask me, this should be their first contract. Well, let's see how that goes. But even before that, just like we said earlier on, there was a time the Tinubu administration was accused for such a contract, about $9 million lobbying contract. DCI Group, that's the firm, the one we are told that Tinubu engaged to ensure that the designation of Nigeria as the country of a particular concern and the threat by Donald Trump, especially the sanction on Christian persecution, some of these things are doused. That firm seems to have done their work. The DCI Group, we are told that they were given $9 million, allegedly, because I didn't see the contract terms. But this one, the one of $1.2 million, according to some reports, I did not also see. So it's going to be allegedly that Atiku signed a separate $1.2 million. But
he hasn't denied that.
Oh, if he hasn't denied that, that tells you that the firm, the Von Batten, I don't want to complete their name, but my concern is that the firm is newly registered. Has the firm any experience? Have they done a similar work? Because the DCI Group Tinubu used, according to report, they have been in the business of lobbying, and that was how their own was swift and effective. But this Von Montag, as we are told, was just recently registered under the Department of Justice, 1st of April, and they are given such a contract.
So why this emphasis on US, or emphasis on making lobby to US to have an influence on our institutions and the government of Nigeria when we're a sovereign nation?
Because of the fact that we don't have strong institutions. If we have strong institutions, we won't be spending this amount. If we are to aggregate the amount spent by both parties, that's close to about $10 million. $10 million will go a long way in fixing a lot of wrongs we have in this country. But the key thing is because we don't have institutional framework. No, because politicians we have currently, they are not committed to building institutions as against personal interests. I had thought that there will never be a time where I see Nigeria where one man will go in there and say, you know what, let me build strong institutions, let me strip myself powers through legislations. Nobody does it. That's why I said we need to converge a kind of constituent assembly. Because look at these things.
Because the irony of this thing is this: when people are in power, they do as it pleases them. But the moment they leave, the vampires they built will begin to hunt them.
That is just
and then they begin to cry.
That is just that.
And they now wonder why it has become so difficult for us to try to do the right thing. Let's build these institutions for once, so that everybody will be under the law, and let's see how we'll be able to have a sane society. Because as it stands now, it seems like we're just, we're just doing the same thing every time and thinking that there's going to be a change in the country.
My problem is that some of us who do not understand some of these things, we blame the person in power most easily. As if that the next person crying today, if he gets in there, that he's going to do something different. I keep saying it. When you give a man power, you can tell more about the person. When the person is outside power, the person may be the talk of the town. Everyone will like him. I have said it many times that the way things are going, until we call ourselves.
Let me put up this before we go for this very commercial break. If you recall how APC was formed, APC came on board and told us Nigerians how bad PDP was. How PDP had messed up Nigeria and what have you not. They told their story how they merged, to bring about change. Change was a slogan. Many Nigerians bought into it. Even some people who are complaining today, they bought into that change narrative. They didn't ask questions. Who were those people asking for change? They forget that the people asking for change came from PDP and went into a new platform. We're having the same thing with ADC now. The same politicians, new platform, new name, but it's still the same people, and they are saying that they are the ones who are going to bring that succor Nigerians need. At this point in time, you might want to ask Nigerians, what do you want? Do you want to change a name, or do you want to test the two things before you? Is there a possibility that it's not just a new name, but also a new philosophy that might emerge from a new party?
I think what we need, for me, just like I said earlier on, let's look at some countries quickly because of time. Many countries, when they build strong institutions immediately after the Second World War, so many countries commit to building strong institutions. If you look at a country like Germany in 1949 brought up a new constitution for themselves, where no organ of government can dominate the order, stripping the order of the day, stripping those in powers the opportunity to appoint and reappoint. Some of the things we are doing now. France did this own in 1958. That's what they call the Fifth Republic. I'm also aware that Italy did its own in 1948. Netherlands, as we speak, also followed suit. Many of these countries brought new constitution, and the constitution emphasized on rule of law, democracy, accountability, making institutions independent of any organ of government in terms of appointment, in terms of so many things. US did not follow such because they have had a broad system that has been working for them. We copied US, but we don't have such mileage they have achieved in enthroning democracy. Look at what some of these European countries did. I'm just calling them, telling you how they brought new constitution. They were having constitution, but they brought new. Why? Because they want.
The question would now be: so how do we now get those minds that are retooled, those minds that are concerned with paradigm shift, those minds that are open to doing the altruistic job? Because the issue is that I keep on telling people that if you look at people who are in politics today, whether the person is in party A or party B, they seem to have the same mindset. So if we're going to engineer this very change, where do we get these very people? How do we get the people who can have a different mindset that can bring about that much needed change in the country?
You won't get them. Nigerians will demand for this change. If you wait and start waiting when you will get these people to be in power, you will not get it. Because Nigerians will have to make a strong demand. I'm just trying to let you know how independent. If you go to any of these European countries, their courts are independent. No government pays anything into the court. You don't give them gift, you don't give them money, you don't give them anything.
So how are people going to depend? Because let's take for instance now with our court, for instance. Anybody who wants to be honest will know that the courts have done more damage to our policies than good.
Because they have done more damages.
So if we are going to demand or make demand for accountability from the courts, talk about the judges, the lawyers, and so, the people, how do they go about asking for this very change? Stay with us after this very break.
We are Udala Radio. Udala Radio 104.7 FM.
Onitsha, una done ready for the biggest Easter shutdown. Golden Promise Entertainment presents Easter Golden Fiesta. One massive night of music, comedy, and correct vibes. It happens Sunday, April 12, 2026 from 5 p.m. till dawn for Onitsha Mall ShopRite. Host for the night, MC Bim and MC Feargod. Music policy by Emmy Black, Ivado, and Sparkle T. Laughter with comedians like Twin Parrots, Prince Neche, 5 Naira, Dibia Update, Holy Baba, and Sister Equitos. Plus live performances from Mweze and CJ Ozugo, and DJs will go keep the party hot all night. DJ Staffy, DJ Y Barrow, DJ Two Step, DJ Tony Banks, DJ Freezy, and DJ NK. Tickets they go fast. Regular 2,000 Naira, VIP 5,000 Naira, VVIP table for 5, 200,000 Naira. For sponsorship, bookings, and enquiries, call 0814-394-2802 or 0808-441-5156. Easter Golden Fiesta, the party we on nature go talk about. Supported by Udala Radio 104.7 FM.
Admission. This is to inform the general public about the entrance examination into Mata Amabli Secondary School, Umuoji, Anambra State. It is an all-boarding secondary school for girls managed by the Catholic Archdiocese of Onitsha, which admits both Catholic and non-Catholic students. It is strategically located along Mpo Umuoji Road, roughly 10 minutes drive from Mpo Junction. The exam will be for the prospective students of JSS1, JSS2, SS1 and SS2 classes. Date is Saturday, 11th April 2026. Venue, Mata Amabli Secondary School, Umuoji. Time 9 a.m. Forms are currently on sale in the school and will also be available on the exam day. For more inquiries, call 080-3645-6040, 080-3645-6040 or 090-2859-8799, 090-2859-8799. Signed, Management.
For too long, realtors have worked alone. No structure, no protection, no unified voice. That era ends now. Welcome to the Realtors Summit 2026, a historic gathering that will redefine real estate in Anambra and Asaba. The Anambra Asaba Realtors Association, a platform for unity, influence, and collective power. And beyond that, a Realtors Welfare Initiative built to support you when it matters most. Strengthen your career and secure your future in the industry. At this summit, you'll discover smarter ways to close and scale, multiple income channels in real estate, and strategies that move you from hustle to ownership and authority. Featuring Dr. Tony Olisa Mbeki of Udala FM, Lovelin Chinenyen Nana, Property Boss, and Mr. Jude Igwebike, IT Professional. Date 2nd May 2026. Time 11 a.m. Venue 5-star Restaurant Hall, Stock Exchange, Onitsha. This is not for everyone, but for realtors who are ready to rise. For inquiries, call 0803-276-0653. This summit is free, powered by Nebek Real Estate Limited.
It's green.
Searching for a place to eat good food and still enjoy premium relaxation? Stanley World Agwoka got you covered. Welcome to Stanley SFF Restaurant and Operiche Lounge Agwoka, where taste meets class. From hot, delicious local dishes to mouth-watering African and continental cuisines, pepper soup, grilled meat, rice, drinks, and many more. Everything is fresh and satisfying. Step into Operiche Lounge, a calm, classy environment to chill, hang out, and unwind. Perfect for friends, date treats, and after work relaxation. Chop well, drink well, and feel cool morning, afternoon, and night. Stanley SFF Restaurant and the Preacher Lounge, a haven for good food, great vibes, top security, and steady comfort. For further inquiry, call 0814-565-6920 or 0813-855-8009.
I want to hear no the latest where they happen. Ogbenda power of don't enter for town. You want to upgrade your car, it day in town. For motorway get accidents, you go make and tantam. Our integrity stand first in everything we do, and we they deliver worldwide. This not the latest update when I get for you. If your motor small and you want to fix some more, if you want to repaint your motor, power of the run a more. If I'm a financial, go banaka, and you put your tolocas, they go power of Nanyoba. Maybe I'm a move and again, or the tam can kick off. If you repent motogi, or motor will accident. You tell Otoloka power of I know to not have a motor number or Babu officer Otoloka's bus stop along Owerri Road, Oba. For more inquiry, why not Kalequentia 090-1100-2200. Angel Otolo,
Junior Weekend!
Onitsha, are you ready? This is not your regular night out.
Another one.
This is Udala House Party. Live at Movie Lounge, 8 Park Road, GRA Onitsha, on April 10th, 2026 at 7 p.m. And guess what? Entry is free.
Involve me!
With vibes from DJ Famous, Prestige, Bucci, Ojugo, Edith, and Lisa, plus performances from DJ Fabulous, Tantawo, and the Obrigado. There will be games, 10 free casino slots for 10 lucky winners, board games, vibes, energy all night. Strictly 18 and above. And yes, it's gonna be live on air on Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Udala House Party this Friday. Make it a date. Brought to you by Udala Radio and Movie. Are you smart, confident, and ready to earn big? Do you have a passion for sales and marketing? Then listen up. Udala Radio 104.7 FM is calling on ambitious, result-driven individuals to join our team as marketers. No limits, no boundaries, just results and rewards. Work at your own pace, meet amazing clients, and grow your income. Sell it, share it, earn your way. Join Udala Radio and start today. Interested? Visit our station today at number 5 Okono Street, Onitsha, or call 0803-350-4206 or send your CV to udalaradio@gmail.com. Don't wait. Your success story starts here. Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
You're listening to the Polity. Get involved now.
Yes, it's time for you to get involved in this conversation on Udala Radio 104.7 FM. It's 10:38 a.m. That is 22 minutes before 11 a.m. And we are going to hit the phone lines now to get your reactions at the story. The phone lines are 0803-221-6973 or 0803-827-6694. We are live on our Facebook page. You can use that platform to also drop your opinion on the issues we have this very morning on conversation. Hello.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Franklin. Good morning, my chief speaker, Tony Olisambeki.
You're welcome. It's good to have you.
The voice of Honorable Idenze Mayor Okutukume JP Okulola Ochendo Umozeneka Udanobi. Can I go on?
Yes, go on, sir.
Tony Olisambeki, I want to thank you for your wonderful analysis this morning. But I want to disagree with what you said, that you cannot blame President Bat for the way he is going. My reason is, let me ask you, who is to institutionalize the ministries or the sectors in Nigeria whose duty is it? This is my question. Then another thing is the way things are going, we can see the handwriting on the wall that the present government of Nigeria want to make Nigeria one state where one party will be ruling. Because as you can see now, you have just said it all, that the protestation of Mr. Peter Obi and so on, and his group cannot yield any increase. For the reason that the president is sitting on top of all the people that are concerned, telling them or directing them what to do. When you go to the judiciary, the same thing. When you go to, in fact, he is on top of everything.
All right.
And now I ask, what will Nigeria do to get free from such type of leadership and break through like other foreign countries that are doing well? Thank you, and may God bless you.
All right. Okay. Thank you for your input on this very program. Don't forget, like I said, that you can also use our social media platform, Facebook, for you to get interactive on this platform. Good morning.
Good morning, Franklin. Am I correct, please? I don't know.
Yes, you are. Your name?
Oh. Good morning, Tony Olitambeki.
Good morning.
I am Prince O. Eloy. I'm reaching you from Oboti.
Yes, go on.
I want to comment on the protests by Atiku, Peter Obi, and so on and so forth. To me, that protest is to me it's nonsense. To me, it's foolishness. Because you are protesting for the INEC chairman to resign. Who will appoint the next INEC chairman if that one resigns? Who will appoint the next? Is it ADC that will appoint the next INEC chairman, or still the president you are contesting against? And if you do anything that is funny, you go to court. Who is in that court? The chief in that court is being appointed by the president. If you do anything funny, police will arrest you. The chief of the police is being appointed by the president. Army, everything appointed by the president. What they should be protesting is how to dismantle the overriding power of the president. That is what they should be protesting. Because I think in the power, all those enormous power is not bestowed on the president. Everything will be working normal. But the president is still the one to appoint. If he like, he will appoint.
Are you still there? Are you still there? Okay. We lost our connection, but I think we'll be able to get something from what he was saying. Okay, so let's get to other calls and hear other callers. Good morning. Hello, can you hear us? Okay, try again. The phone numbers are 0803 2210 0803 221 6973 or 0803 827 6694. Good morning.
Well, good morning, Franklin.
Yes, your name?
My name is Johnson. I'm calling from Onitsha.
Johnson?
Yes.
All right, go on, Mr. Johnson.
Okay. I think what the APC government is doing in this country is very bad. What they are planning is to make Nigeria one-party state, and it's not good for the democracy. You understand me? Because what they are doing now is this. They want to subdue every other party. You understand me? And it's very, very, very bad to this country. What this president is doing is not the right thing. If you read the handout on the wall, you think, and what will save this country is what's happening in Ghana, it's happening in Nigeria here. Because we are not practicing democracy. This is not democracy at all. It's not democracy. You so much are not over this thing in this country.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you for your call. 0803 221 6973 or 0803 827 6694. Good morning. Hello. Are you there? Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning. Your name?
Yeah, my name is George.
Josh,
good morning, Mr. Speaker.
You're welcome.
If I may say, talking about the protest of the ADC, we will be looking at it that it's something. At least let like what the speaker said. Ebe bulu oko otibekbu. Only that shows the alert now. That still shows Nigeria that the way things are going is not okay. But what I would say is that this issue of whether a different Nigeria, that all Nigeria are not the same. All Nigeria are not the same. Yes, every government have their own peculiarity of their particular problem that they always face. But this one is coming in a different dimension. No part that you say that this is exactly part that you should lay your hand on that is moving where in the country.
So sorry. So they talk about every Nigeria being the same. Where is it coming from?
No, the issue of
Okay, Josh. Maybe if I'm trying to infer what you are trying to say, we didn't say every Nigerian is the same. We're saying those who are in political parties, politicians who are in parties now,
power.
They almost behave alike. They have the same approach to power. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Yes, your name?
My name Honorable Chimwembo. I come from Agrozib.
Yes, go on, sir.
There's something I want to raise and make it to explain from me more. Since 1999 till date, we have an opposition. And since then, I have never had anything being done by these oppositions. Their impartations in this, like in the days of Buhari, we have these opposition people. But what they have done, even now where people are clamoring, say where people are looking for one party system. Those opposition, what are their works? Because everything is still turning upside down, and we barely hear them say something about what is happening in Nigeria. Sometimes they say something, they just say it casual, they have no impartations, nothing happens. The party are still doing whatever they are doing. So we have a problem in Nigeria. The problem we have is from a lack of independence, because this INEC is not independent, judiciary is not independent. They were ruling and governed by the president, directed by the president. Whatever they want to do, they want to say, they ask president. So what they are the independent? They don't have independence. So we have a very big problem in Nigeria. So that's what I want to know, because clamoring for this one party system that is this thing, people are non-clamoring, people are protesting that this and that. I don't see it as workable here in Nigeria, as in Africa at large, because it has been a very big problem because of British interest. Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining. So let's take one more call before we get to our Facebook page and acknowledge your post. Let's see. Okay, so let's try this. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. It's Mr. Tilas Oramala speaking from Onitsha.
Mr.
Oramala from Onitsha.
Okay, go on, sir.
I disagree with what you said. Now, if ọkụkọ na-etiri mkpu abụọ ka aghara ya nwa n'ọka wanuronia, and the protest in Abuja yesterday is a starting. According to the organizer, probably this is the beginning. If the INEC did not meet to their demand, then there will be a nationwide strike, which involves every organizations and societies and individuals. You see, a good change from the INEC, or a totally showdown to the federal government in the next demonstration. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you. Okay, so let's get to our Facebook page now. See the reactions. Okay, from Anthony Mera, thank you for watching from Zamfara State. Also, Francis Morgan Namani, watching from Maguns in Enugu State. Government should be keen on providing a sustainable security, health, employment and massive infrastructural development and facilities to make lives meaningful to her citizens. And Cheesy Nugget says, if we are talking about making a change, I feel we the Nigerians should march to the streets. And he says Tony should lead, and he's going to support him with every fiber in him and whatever wherewithal he has. Okay, Obino Patrick, thank you for also watching. A Jim Chevy says his name is Sumkene Chukwu from Anambra State. He says ADC protest is a step in the right direction, but sincerely speaking, democracy has been abused badly in Nigeria, especially in this very regime. INEC chairman must resign if the election will hold. President Tinubu has abused every institution, and he must not return because penury has taken over the country. Dr. Mrs. Lebara from Owerri State says, sad that Nigeria is sliding into dictatorship. Our democracy is under siege, and we will not allow one-party state. All the political contractors, political lepers, kleptomaniacs, power drunk, and wreckers of orderly society must be cleared off. Political arena, perhaps cage in zoological gardens for restraining, if we truly want a new Nigeria that we will be proud of. Then, and only then, shall we have a new lease of life. Funai Reda says Dangote reducing fuel pump price to 1,200 naira per litre, and Nigerians seem to be jubilating for the price reduction. A litre of fuel, which was 270 naira on 28 May 2023, we are now happy it's coming down to 1,200 naira. I keep telling people around me to know who they vote into power. And he says political party is not our problems in this country, but candidates we are voting into political leadership. Okay, there's another part of their message that I'm going to ignore now because we need to acknowledge all that. Aloysius Odili says the Delta State government increasing medical doctor salary is very much good because most of our doctors are living in their numbers on daily basis. On the issue of protest done yesterday by ADC leaders and supporters, it is a welcome development because APC-led federal government is afraid of losing 2027 election, and he says it is very painful and pitiful what some political parties are undergoing under the present government. A judiciary, which is the institution to bail the situation, has done nothing. He is watching from Momoba now. Anyaji Gabriel says, okay, a spade ought to be called a spade here. Okay, let's not justify the actions of Tinubu simply because we think everybody will do the same. Okay, he says, remember when one Chukwemeke Lubaka was defending this notion and how you have condemned it, but now because of your affiliation with a party and also all right, so Tony, maybe you get to respond to this later, and let's take this very one. Mbechiobi from Ihiala says asking former President Glo Jonathan to recontest is laughable. Chigozie KC Basha, thank you for following. Thank you likewise. Multi C, that's by Sebastian by name, who is also watching from Onitsha. He says I think we need a very big change in this very country. Change in institutions. Then Ekigona says ADC protest for me is like creating awareness, and at the end APC will still do their mind. Michael Chiao says, he said, okay, when you say anybody can do what Tinubu is doing, it is disappointing, even when it is not right, which means the protesters should go and sit down. Okay, please it can help us when you're writing so that we'll be able to articulate very well. Then Moses George says, he says, do you think that if you are in government today that you will be able to change the situation? Okay, that's the question by Moses George. And Prince Joseph Chibuzo Nweke says that our constitution is the problem of Nigeria. Certainly, we get to do this in 2 minutes.
All right, let's quickly do this, because when I say that these opposition leaders, if you give them the opportunity, they will do almost the same thing Tinubu is doing. I was not mistaken. We've seen them. They were once in power. None of them, as we see them now, has not taken any leadership change. I have not heard any of them saying, if I become the president, I will make judiciary and the courts to be truly independent. I have not heard any. They are not talking about institutional change. They are concerned about energy crisis, fuel. These are secondary things for me. Once we get our institutions working, these things will be taken care of. I was thinking that the opposition will be campaigning that I will make sure if I become the president, I will not be appointing heads of courts. I will make sure that the heads of courts emerge through transparent, merit-based internal process led by Judicial Council. The electoral body, I have not heard any of them say, if I become president, I will not appoint the INEC chairman. I have not heard any of them say this as we go into 2027 election. I have not. I thought that some of them were saying, INEC chairman will have nothing to do with presidency. It should be multi-stakeholder issue. I have not heard any of them. Anti-corruption agencies, I have not heard any of these opposition leaders say, if I become president or if you become president, the presidency or the president will not be the one appointing the EFCC boss or ICPC boss. I will make sure in my time or tenure that these things will emerge through internal process or multi-sectorial process. And it will be codified in the law that the president has no power under such circumstances, or even the tenure of these people will be protected by law.
Okay,
I see. I can go on. We have not. These are things that most of the opposition in Europe, Italy, the countries I mentioned, these were some of the things they were championing, and the people we are behind them. And it becomes important that it is a matter of time. Look at our opposition leaders. They are not talking about changing the institution. What does that tell you? If you give them the opportunity, they will continue from where the last person stopped. They feel that, this is your turn. None of them is saying things that we make these institutions to be strong, to be strengthened. I have not heard anything like that coming from them. And you want to tell me, I will give you power and you become an angel. I will not give you power for you to be an angel. Tell us this you will do to make these institutions work. President Buhari told us, I will declare my assets if I become president. And then what else did he say? That this and that animals. He didn't. We immediately became president. Nigerians were on him. Give us your assets declaration. Make it open. Because he would do it. But he failed to do it. But the pressure was on him. Because if they make these promises, by the time the electorates will be supporting them, they will demand those things if they don't do it.
Right.
None of them is going that line. What does that tell you? If this one goes, another set will come in and continue where they stopped.
We have to hang our boot here. Not because we are injured.
And somebody asked me a question, please, Franklin. Somebody asked me a question that if I become a president, if you give me the same set of structure, if I become a president, don't expect any angelic action. I will campaign on these things I have said to make sure that these powers, for me, strip them from the president. You don't blame anybody who is there. And you don't blame Tinubu for making use of the sweets or juice or he put in his mouth.
At this point, so we have to draw the curtain, and tomorrow is Friday, of course. There's going to be a return of the program. But before then, the other programs lined up for today. So we ask you to stay tuned to Udala Radio 104.7 FM Onitsha for you to enjoy those programs. Today is Thursday, so it's throwback. Do you know that Sonny Bobo song? Nagina Gromano. You might hear it today. I don't know. All right. Thank you all for being there. My name is Franklin Ebuka. Good morning.
Hello. From the heart of Udala to your happy place.
Broadcasting live
From Anambra to diaspora, everybody sing out.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM.
Udala they shine oh, 24/7 with it online oh. If you dey look for better sound, tune in, make you no rewind oh.
Your day just got better right here.
gee ntị n'ọgwa dị oke mkpa. Nke a bụ iji wee gwa ọha na eze ọzọ banyere ahịa ọgbara ọhụrụ a na-akpọ WAITC iji wee nabata ndị niile bụ ndị akwaturu shop ha n'Ọnịcha Main Market. West African Intercontinental Trade Center Limited WAITC bụ njikọta aka ọnụ ọha na eze na nke ndị nnọrọ onwe atụmatụ PPP yana gọọmenti Anambra steeti ịrụgharị ebe ọgbara ọhụrụ na Oze Nkwele Road by Mechanic Village. N'ịgbakwunyekwu na nke a, WAITC Complex na-enye ndị mmadụ shop n'efu agaghị akwụ ụgwọ ọbụla otu afọ maka ndị niile akwaturu shop ha n'Ọnịcha Main Market. WAITC ga-agakwa n'iru na-arụgasị shop dị iche iche iji wee nabata ndị akwaturu shop ha na ndị ọzọ nwere mmasị nwe shop. Onye ọbụla bụ onye na-azụ ahịa nke a metụtara ga-eje n'Ọnịcha Chamber of Commerce opposition ha University Gate, Basilica of the Most Holy Trinity Compound, GRA Ọnịcha, ịgbata akwụkwọ fọm akpọrọ expression of interest form dịka WAITC na-ejikọta aka ọnụ ime ya bụ gbata fọm a ka ọ dị mfe maka ndị niile na-azụ ahịa akwaturu shop ha na ndị niile nwere mmasị ịrụkwazi shop ka erebe ndị mmadụ. Gbata akwụkwọ fọm nke gị ka ịnweta shop nke gị na WAITC Complex Oze Nkwele Road by Mechanic Village. Maka mkpọtụrụ onye ihe ndị ọzọ kpọọ akara 08037866974 ma 08136445336.
Are you smart, confident, and ready to earn big? Do you have a passion for sales and marketing? Then listen up. Udala Radio 104.7 FM is calling on ambitious, result-driven individuals to join our team as marketers. No limits, no boundaries, just results and rewards. Work at your own pace, meet amazing clients, and grow your income. Sell it, share it, earn your way. Join Udala Radio and start today. Interested? Visit our station today at number 5 Okono Street, Onitsha, or call 0803-350-4206 or send your CV to udalaradio@gmail.com. Don't wait. Your success